Hi everyone, welcome to Working Knowledge. This is Selena.
This is Chitika. Hi.
Hi, this is a podcast where we try to learn new things together and expand our working knowledge of everyday things. Today's topic, or today's episode, is called Dare to Date. Very alliteration. We're gonna be talking about dating and relationships outside of our school life and also while socially distancing, since that is the thing now. So,
The
woo,
new normal.
the new
I hate that
normal.
phrase.
I
I hate
know.
it so much.
Oh my gosh, when all the like companies or whatever were sending out their like COVID-19 response, and then they were always saying
Yeah.
like this is the new normal, or like
That's how I realized I was still subscribing to things I didn't use
yeah, because
because I
like
got their COVID.
random companies would just like anyways,
Wild.
yeah, so we thought we would start off just by, well, Chitika found this clip from He's Just Not That Into You, the movie. Do you want to play it?
Yeah, I
I think it's
think
very relatable.
yeah, every once in a while this like occurs to me and I'm like, this is it. This is Drew Barrymore just summarized like the whole human condition in 50 seconds. So I'm just going to play this clip and I think we'll all be on the same page about it.
That's not the point. I can't text. You know, I'm not charming via text.
Well, maybe you should just stop texting.
But it's not just texting, it's email, it's voicemail, it's snail mail.
That's regular mail.
Whatever, none of it's working. I had this guy leave me a voicemail at work, so I called him at home. And then he emailed me to my BlackBerry, and so I texted to his cell, and then he emailed me to my home account, and the whole thing just got out of control. And I miss the days where you had one phone number and one answering machine. And that one answering machine housed one cassette tape, and that one cassette tape either had a message from the guy or it didn't. And now you just have to go around checking all these different portals just to get rejected by 7 different technologies. It's exhausting.
So
Oh my
that's the
God.
topic really today, isn't it?
Kind of, yeah.
The movie is pretty great and like
I've actually
I
never
have,
seen it, but this one clip is very convincing.
it's definitely probably my favorite part. I think it's like the peak of the movie. It's increasingly relevant. The rest of it is kind of like, yeah, it's like fun and it's cute, but it's very, 2004 or whenever it came out. So, and I think it's really funny because we wrote this paper like 3 years ago for our human factors in architecture class that was inspired by the whole like dating app phenomenon. And I honestly forgot a lot of the things that like I was reading this paper, right? And I like sent it to you too. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh, this is really like intelligent. I don't remember any of
I don't
this.
even remember writing it. Like, I don't remember how we did it. I don't remember the research at all. But reading it again makes a lot of sense. Like, a lot of it is very relatable right now.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it was really funny of us also to like write an academic paper on like dating apps and spatial implications of online dating. Pretty I don't know, like cool of also our professor to be like, yeah, that's a cool topic, go for it.
I wonder what we got on that paper, honestly, because I genuinely don't even remember turning it in. And apparently there was a presentation that went along with it, too. I don't remember at
Yeah,
all.
I found our slide deck. I remember giving the presentation to the class. I think it was one of the few that people stayed awake for. At least I like to flatter myself
I
and
love
say
that.
that.
Yeah, so that whole thing was about, what's it called? Propinquity?
Yeah, I think it's a more technical term for like proximity,
Yeah.
but propinquity is just supposed to be how close, like the perceived or literal closeness between people.
Mm-hmm.
So I think our paper title, I'm looking at it now, it was electronic propinquity, and we just wrote about how there's like you can be physically near people or you can also be electronically near people if you have a perceived sense of closeness. So like we are currently functionally near each other, but we're not like physically near each other.
We're electronically near each other.
Propinquitus, I don't know what the word is.
sense of closeness to each other. But
Yeah,
it's really interesting because we talked about like work from home employees and like telecommuters, those who like work remotely, and it's like everything that we wrote is like kind of relatable. Like I'm looking at this one line that says, additionally, it can be argued that they, as in like the workers, suffer a social loss by physically removing themselves from their place of work. And that's just like really hits me real close, I think, right now.
totally. I think that's what so many people are talking about is, a lot of people are realizing that many things can be done without being in an office space together. But a big part of the idea is that you have a social component.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you work like long hours or you're like, I don't know, like at the office all the time, or that's kind of like the central effort in your life. Like if you're like single or, a new grad, like most of your social life comes from the office.
Yeah.
So, I've had a couple of friends who are like, well, I started my new job like from home. So I never really like still haven't really made friends at the office because everyone's just like a floating head, or that's if they turn their camera on. So many people are just like, it's pretty normal etiquette now to like leave your face off.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
Weird stuff.
definitely. And like, since we're talking about like the social aspect, we wrote about, I think a lot of the paper was about like dating apps because someone that we quoted wrote about how like they looked up on the subway like in New York at some like attractive person sitting a few rows away from them, and they were like, well, the person was also like on Tinder, and so they were probably more likely to like meet each other if they both matched while actually being on the subway car, as opposed to like looking at each other and being like, sup.
So funny. I can't believe we wrote this 3 years ago.
I can't believe we wrote this for our final paper. I think that was hilarious. I'm pretty sure we got an A on this.
Good,
I
I
do
hope
want to
so.
say we got an
I love that. I think it's interesting how like we can really socialize or I guess we're all getting a lot better at socializing virtually through this process. I mean, I think we were aware of how to do it before, but now there's even more like opportunities or more tools to do it. Especially in dating, like I think I don't know, the idea of closeness has really changed in dating now, especially online dating. I guess you know more about that than I do.
I mean, I only know what we wrote about. So from like a weirdly academic standpoint, there's like all these apps out there that are doing different things or that are interesting to study.
My dog is licking my leg.
Oh, hi, Bo.
Hi, Bo. Hi,
we
babe.
should feature him on our podcast or something. It would be great marketing.
Okay, Bo. Oh. What do you want? He wants something, but I don't know what he wants. Bo, you can't do this right now, hon. Giving my leg an entire bath. I know, that's why. Okay, hold on, babe. Okay.
Bye, Bo. Yeah, for our listeners, everybody has trouble with virtual work. It happens.
It does happen.
It is in a way like funny to read or hear about how people are like trying to connect and having these like somewhat inorganic like cold platforms as their only options. I was always one of those people that was like my friends make a lot of fun of me for this because a couple of them like have had a lot of success with online dating. They have had success online dating. And I'm always like, yeah, but that's the problem when you watch like He's Not That Into You. They all have these like great meet cutes. None of them meet on an app. And so you're always like, yeah, see, like you're supposed to still strive for like an organic way to meet somebody. But I don't know. I think that's changing a lot. I mean, one of the articles so Selena and I looked at a couple of like articles for today, and we thought we would like go through all these like dating tips for new grads and then sort of see if they still stand the test of quarantine.
The test
But
of
one of those
quarantine.
was I don't think I put that in the notes, but one of those was online dating is not for like losers only. And it
Yeah,
was
I saw
just
that.
like
That like made me
yeah,
laugh out loud.
yeah, same. Because I was like, oh well, everybody does seem to well, not everybody, but a lot of people seem to have trouble like fully committing to that process as
Yeah,
equally
or
valid.
like admitting to the process.
Yeah, or it's always one of those like last resort things. It's like, oh yeah, like I don't have that many options. Sort of like the people on that like matchmaking show, Indian matchmaking.
Oh yeah.
They were like, yeah, we've run out of options, so like we'll try anything, but it's nobody's like first preference. But now it is. Now there's like, well, this is really the only way you could meet somebody. So it's like I'm tempted to believe that like the dating pool of people who date online has sort of like changed because now that everybody's there, it's like
Oh yeah.
more
I'm
even.
sure it has.
So I don't know. What do you think?
I think I mean I can't really relate much to this because I haven't had good positive experiences with online dating. So that's not really my forte, but I think it's really funny and I think it's really interesting the like way that online dating has changed so much, especially just in platforms like I mean obviously you have Tinder, like Bumble, those are like a couple of the big ones, but there's also like specific
Hinge.
apps for like Hinge. There's also like specific apps for like literally anything you can think of, like I don't know, East Meets East. I think that's like an Asian dating app. There was one for like Indians. There was, I mean, there's always like anything
Yeah,
you
there's
can
like
think
a
of.
South
what it's
Asian
called.
one which is
Yeah.
called Dil Mil. So like Dil is heart in Hindi and Mil means to meet. It's supposed to be cute and rhymey, but there's one called it's called like luxury or something.
Luxury?
That's
You're
not the
buying a
word.
home?
No. It's like it's like elite dating. That's how they advertise it.
Oh, is it like the
And
one that like
it's-
only celebrities can get into or something?
I mean, I think to some extent you have to be some sort of celebrity, but they do like a background check and people will like, you have to be invited. So, it was in one of these things that I read. I forget what it's called. Oh, The League. That's what it's called.
Oh, that's even worse.
Yeah, and it's an app that vets its users based on criteria like where they went to school.
Oh God.
So they just do this whole like analysis of you, and then you can only even put in an application if you get invited. Things like it's like one of those like fancy like
Exclusive
apartment buildings.
things.
Yeah, but like the dating app version. So there's this sense of like, oh, you'll meet people that are like equal to you or whatever.
Equal. Yeah, and then there's just like every level of online dating, I think, possible.
Well, there's also the Facebook. I think that's so funny. Like all the Facebook meme pages.
Oh my gosh.
Or like there's like, what is it? I think originally it was Subtle Asian Traits was the first one, right? And now you
and
have
then it
like
expanded into
Subtle
like
Asian
subtle
dating,
Asian dating.
Subtle curry dating. Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, apparently it really works for some people, and the sort of like hilariousness of it is that the odds of meeting somebody in your city are probably so low, like, because these groups are, they have people from the whole world on them, but like that's more overt, like, oh, putting yourself up and being like, hey, I'm single, and like we're all on this meme page, so we probably have something in common. But then there's like the pages that are just memes. Like I'm on this group called like Num Tots, which is like new urbanist memes for transit oriented teens.
Oh my
but
God.
It's all people who are like obsessed with trains, and they just like are always complaining about cars, and it's delightful. But it's one of those things where like sometimes people will post a meme and then somebody will sort of like hit on them in the comments, or they'll like DM them and say, I think you're hilarious. And it's sort of like, is that more organic? It's kind of like meeting somebody.
It feels a little bit more organic because it's like you're
Right?
relating to something that they're related to or connected to.
Well, yeah, it's like seeing somebody do something that you think is cool and then going up to them. So it's kind of like, I guess that
kind of
sort
organic,
of works.
Yeah. And plus, like, I guess if you're online, you get like that anonymity kind of factor, so you don't feel as weird like as in person. Yeah.
Right. Well, yeah. I don't want to like put you on the spot, but I think there's something really funny and like online-y about the way you guys officially started dating too, because weren't you Snapchatting for the longest time?
Yeah, but we knew each other beforehand. So I guess for like context, we haven't stated this already, but Chitika is single.
Thank you.
I mean, like, I think, yeah.
No,
single,
it's good. I mean,
yeah.
I'm
and
single.
then I'm in a long distance, long-term relationship. I guess that's what they call it now.
Wow.
For almost 3 years now. But yeah, I mean,
it hasn't been long distance the whole time.
Not the whole time, just for the past like 6 months, 3 months. Yeah, 3 months.
Wow.
Yeah, but no, it's kind of online-y. I guess it's like, in my sense, we met like quote unquote organically because we're in the same like program and whatnot.
Same program.
Yeah, but like we used like online tools as a way to like get to know each other. That's like the difference. But it's also related to that electronic propinquity thing where like we weren't like physically close to each other during the summer, but we got closer because of like what he and I were electronically sending to each other. So socializing virtually.
Yeah. I think sometimes it's also, I've heard these stories about like, or there's like sort of a new trope emerging where there's like that person at the office or in school that you don't really talk to, and then you match with them on a dating app and you're like, oh, that's funny. I never considered that. And then it's like the perfect blend of organically meeting somebody but also using like an online tool. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I guess do you ever think about like, would you have like talked to each other or like dated if you didn't like start talking online?
I don't know, actually. I think a lot of people ask me that question, or like something along the lines of like, how did that start? And I'm like, I really don't know. I think it was mostly, I don't know. How do we even start?
I just remember that like we were sitting next to each other in class one day, and before class started, you like opened a Snapchat, and I was like, since when do you and Z Snapchat? What is this development? And you were like, I don't know. We're just talking.
So awkward. Oh my god.
So
yeah, I mean, I
think
like,
that's a great story.
Yeah, I think it was a combination of a lot of things. That summer, like I was quote unquote dating somebody that I fully and completely regret now. So I think like in a way I was looking for like someone else to talk to because I was just so frustrated. And then another reason is probably because like, oh, he seemed like an interesting person at the time, and we were relating on a couple things because he was like out of the country and traveling, and I was like, oh, that's cool, blah blah blah. So that's probably like how it started. But I think that's like hard. That's like a very like unique circumstance. In another world, if like I wasn't dating this terrible person, then I probably wouldn't have ever gotten together with him. Yeah,
that's true. I feel like you never really know where things are going, and then it's like, oh, that all makes sense now, like in hindsight. But do you want to read some of this oh
my god,
cool
let's
advice?
read some things. I mean the one that like I see on all of these lists is like, get hobbies and like make friends in those hobbies and like find a group to hang out with. And I think that's so funny because I mean like obviously we haven't really like gone into like the real world yet, but I just can't imagine like meeting someone like in a book club or like I don't know.
I mean, that would be my dream.
That would be you.
I thought, yeah, but the funniest thing is I read this one too, and I was like, oh, that's perfect because that means you just like join a book club and then you meet somebody in a library or something wonderful. And then the next sentence was, but don't just join a book club to meet someone. And I was like, oh, I guess I got it wrong already. It was, I like also am like in a book club, like reading group these days. And it's just like, what do you, like, do you like DM them on Zoom? Like, what are you supposed to do virtually? No, because for people that haven't like somehow have not used Zoom in all this time, the chat is like usually to everyone, right? But then you can send private chats to people, and sometimes people do that like if you're in class, like you'll get a text that's like, oh my god, you know, whatever, like you know, which I don't know if that's fully true, but like I've also recently learned that the host of the meeting sometimes can access like all the chats.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say
if it's
just
recording,
use your phone.
I think you can see all the chats.
Yeah, don't like DM somebody to Oh, I saw these like really funny posts too of like professors who like caught their students hitting on each other because somebody would like try to like talk, and then professors like, hello, I can see you. What are you doing?
I would be that professor. It'd be fun.
Yeah, I would find it hilarious and post it all over the internet.
Yeah,
but that's just me. So
but the get hobbies and like make friends in these like hobby groups, I think is just, it's so, I mean, like you can still kind of do that now in quarantine, but it's like a completely different playing field.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
It does seem like good advice on paper for like if there is an opportunity to do that in the future. What kind of hobby would even like promote that? I'm trying to think. I do like the book club idea. If it was like a Jane Austen book club, that's a movie also, by the way. But if we were reading like Pride and Prejudice, I would just be like not focused on the book at all. I've read it like 20 times, but I would just kind of be like, who do I like currently hate but will like fall in love with in 6 months? I think that's interesting advice. I just hope we can try it sometime. I can try it sometime soon.
Yeah. What's another one? Another piece of advice?
What's another one? Oh, we talked about this a bit. Oh, well, no, this is funny. There's a bigger dating pool, and also less chances that you'll bump into people after like a failed experience. Which on campus, like especially on CMU, because we're pretty small compared to like some state schools and things like that. Like, I mean, even in like dating aside, like you just keep bumping into people you don't want to see constantly. Which also means you bump into people you do want to see. But like, you know, Pittsburgh is relatively small like that. Like it's very common to like bump into your professor at the grocery store after just getting like destroyed,
especially in the area that we were.
Exactly, yeah, because like all the college students like are here, all the like professors are here, like everyone you would probably engage with also like lives around you.
Yeah.
But apparently when you graduate and you like move to a bigger city, or even if you don't move, I guess once you're like not in your like college space anymore, you're probably not likely to bump into random people like all the time. So, but I also read like this is now horror story mode, but I read a really scary story about some guy who like found this woman in person based on just like no information. And he just knew that she was a hairdresser, and he like knew the general area where she worked. And he asked, even she like shared screenshots, he asked which salon, and she was like, oh, I don't know if I want to like share that because we just started talking. And then he figured it out anyway. I think he like went to a couple salons in the area until he found her, and it was like the wildest thing. And like the police, it took her forever to find like a police officer who took her seriously. And then the police officer had to spend forever talking to this guy and explaining to him why like what he did was stalking. It's
scary, but to be honest, like I feel like that's very doable nowadays with all the
it's so easy to find people.
So yeah. Oh, I saw one of these dating advice things. I don't remember which article it was, but like it said, don't be afraid to Google somebody. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's true, I guess. You kind of want to do like a background check, but don't go to the point of like stalking them to wherever
finding them
hair salon is. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's like the lines are a little blurred too, right? Because like everyone like does a Facebook, social media, Google check. Like that's considered quite acceptable and sort of normal.
Yeah, sort of
it's not even in terms of dating. I've had like advisors, people I've asked for like work related stuff, just like see what I'm interested in, because you also have like a professional personality online. So like employers will look you up, and then they'll also like do a check to see if you're like inappropriate on social media, blah blah blah. So like, and then it's supposed to be a bit of a red flag if like someone has no internet presence, because it's kind of like so unavoidable. Like What are you hiding that you don't have an Instagram?
Yeah. Maybe we should talk about red flags. Oh god. That can be a whole other episode.
We only have like 10 more minutes on this episode. I don't know. Well, actually, there is, you want to take this one? There is like a COVID red flag in a way.
Which COVID red flag?
Like that you don't social distance, or you don't take precaution.
Oh, yeah. I guess like one big thing is like the whole the idea of consent has changed a lot in like this new world that we're in, this new normal. So like in relationships, I guess, dating or otherwise, it's like you should always kind of ask for consent, like before meeting, like about face covering and shaking hands, like all that kind of stuff. And like that's like a pretty big red flag, I think, if people aren't on the same page as you. I guess it doesn't have to be like a right or wrong, but if they're like not on the same page as you, that can be a big no in my opinion.
Yeah, and it's a good filter because it's really easy to check, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and it's also one of those things that I had another friend tell me. This was like she meant in general, like even in terms of like meeting friends and things, like
Mm-hmm.
that it's okay to sort of be like inflexible about something like that, because that can be one of the things that you don't like budge on. It should be, especially if you're more on the like side of being safe. Like, I think it's an important skill to learn in general with your like friendships too, especially these days. It's like, yeah, like, you're my friend, I want to see you, but you just went to X place, and so I would rather see you in 2 weeks. And it's also like, if the other person is equally interested in maintaining some relationship with you, like, they'll do that. They'll say, yeah, I'm going to quarantine myself so that I can meet you on so-and-so day.
Yeah. It's kind of
so
like a matter of respect.
Totally.
Yeah.
And I think it's, if there's anybody out there who's listening to this who is like trying to meet people online or even just like meet friends and stay in touch with them, like, it's fully important and more than okay to like be stubborn about those things. Like, don't be afraid to say, well, no, I as much as I want to see you. Yeah. And then you can always like, you can video call them, you can text them. That's the great thing. Is like, you can, I don't know, like do a multiplayer game with them. What do people play? Oh, there's Animal Crossing. That's a really cute one. You can build a home together, move to a faraway island. It's honestly better than anything you'll do with them in real life. So you might
I saw something on like where someone had like an Animal Crossing wedding, or like, so that was like wild to me. I guess I didn't think that could happen. Obviously it can, but it was funny to me.
Right? It's super cute. People also do Minecraft. I know Minecraft was really popular for like graduation, and I forget which school or like which college is doing this, but someone is giving everyone like free Minecraft accounts so that they can recreate the campus experience.
It's one of the bigger schools. I think it's like, I don't know. Yeah, one of the,
I don't remember.
Some school. I saw that somewhere too, that they're giving everyone like access to the Minecraft server and a free Minecraft account, which I think is prime. So funny.
Is there any other advice you want to read, or like do we want to like, I think that's kind of what we had for today.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just like we're talking about dating during COVID is like completely different. Do you quote unquote dare to date? I always think that these like dating advice articles are super funny. Like, I don't know, whatever Refinery 29 sends out, or like one of them was Bustle,
Cosmo.
Yeah.
I love Cosmo. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, but it's really funny because a lot of them are the same advice, and a lot of them are like, I don't know, they seem so like aspirational and like kind of fake. I don't know.
There's that. Have you watched that? I'm talking about a lot of like 2000s rom-coms today, but there's that movie with Matthew McConaughey and Kate Hudson. I want to say it's called How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days.
Yes, I love that movie. Oh my god, classic rom-com.
Right? And she does this what not to do list basically as like a fresh take on a dating advice column. And then, spoiler alert, if you can't already tell, those of you that haven't watched it, obviously they end up together.
As all rom-coms end in that way.
Duh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great movie.
So it's really funny because in a way it's trying to make this point that there are no rules and like, you know, ultimately you'll like people for who they are, blah blah blah. And then I'm like, okay, but Kate Hudson and Matthew McConaughey are way above average good looking people. So
Way above average.
obviously two incredibly attractive people like end up in love with each other. What's not to love?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think that's worth noting though, is that like, not that like the average person is like ugly, but I was talking to a friend earlier today and we were discussing that TV show Selling Sunset. I don't know if you started watching it. That's like real estate reality TV.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, you're like, why am I watching this? And then you have to keep watching it. But there's all these like beautiful like real estate agents and they like sell houses in Hollywood and they make a lot of money. And apparently like they talk a lot about like their looks on the show. And that's like an intentional part, right, of how they present themselves, because
they're like
even
selling
though it's
something.
like, right, and people will buy from like good looking people. But like that's what it kind of comes down to is people aren't like, there's that argument that people aren't really ugly, they're just like poorer than beautiful people. So if you can afford it, like you can look stunning, you know, everyone can look like whatever. And there's so many like connotations to that and like layers to that. But I do think everybody does make these jokes about like, oh yeah, you kind of like want it, or in the movies it works like this, and it's like, well yeah, because the two protagonists are like
gorgeous
Greek
and things are
gods
set
and
up in a
goddesses.
certain way. Yeah.
How would you not? If you ended up like with a really like good looking person on an island and like stayed with them there for a week and they also were secretly a billionaire, like come on.
Yeah.
Like,
it's set up to succeed, or quote unquote succeed.
Right.
Maybe not last, but like in the present moment it's set up to succeed.
Right.
You know.
So it is, I think the whole concept of like advice for meeting people beyond a certain point becomes so ridiculous, like you said, because what, you know, yeah, it's not like you're writing a script for a rom-com. Just do what you gotta do. Get a hobby, and then don't plan to meet somebody doing the hobby. But you could.
But you could. Don't forget that you could, but don't expect to.
Yeah. You gotta be like open to it without expecting it. So if you're gonna join a book club, do it to read the book and to like maybe meet somebody in the process, but mostly for the book.
Well, until next time, this was Working Knowledge. This is our attempt at talking about dating. And make sure you guys rate us on whatever platform you're listening to, if that's a thing. I don't know. I feel like we keep forgetting to say that. That's a thing people say in podcasts, right?
Oh, really?
5 stars.
Oh my god. What's that? What is it called? Smash the subscribe button. Isn't that something gamers say? No, this is just like, it's sort of like experientially if we were on the phone and another person, like, you know how people get crossed wires?
We used to do that. I used to do that all the time.
What?
Like, you mean like 3 people on a phone?
No. Like, I've had this happen sometimes where, like, you pick up the phone or you dial a number and accidentally you get, like, thrown into another call between 2 people. Yeah, I think it's called crossed wires. Some people have met like that, actually. It's supposed to be this cute thing.
I've never heard of that before.
I was once a fly on the wall on the phone for like a fight between a couple.
Oh my god.
That was like 10 years ago. I don't know. There was a lot of he did something and she was like, no, I'll never forgive you. And he was like, but yeah, it sounded like someone was either rehearsing for a play or just having a really dramatic breakup. So
that's funny.
This experience is just like somebody accidentally got cross wires into like our phone
into
call.
our conversation.
Right. And they're like, oh, this is kind of interesting. Wow. Well, I'm just going to stay.
Yeah. Stay and subscribe. And like, we'll see you guys like next week. Hopefully you come back and cross wires with us again.
Oh, that's such a great name for a podcast too. Maybe the next one.
Maybe the next one. Okay. All right, guys. Bye.
Bye.